Okay, let's talk about AI. Is your company throwing that term around like confetti? Yeah, you're definitely not alone. So, in today's explainer, we're going to cut right through all the buzzwords. We're going to give you a super simple framework to help you make much smarter decisions about AI, automation, and all the rest. So, where does all this confusion really start? Well, it usually begins with a simple but really vague request that probably sounds all too familiar. Imagine this. Your team comes to you and says, hey, let's use AI to approve invoices. It sounds innovative, right? It sounds great. But what does that actually mean? This right here is where the trouble begins. AI just becomes this catch-all phrase that honestly hides a total lack of clarity, and that can be a huge roadblock. And this is exactly why getting the language right matters so much. This isn't just about sounding smart in meetings. It's about real money, real time, and real results. When leaders mix up these terms, we end up funding the wrong solutions for the wrong problems, and that is a costly mistake nobody can afford to make. So, how do we fix this? How do we cut through all that noise? It's actually pretty simple. We just need a practical framework. So, let's break down the 4 key tech categories that you really need to get your head around. This is your new toolkit for clarity. First up, we've got analytics. Now, think of this as your business's command center, or even its rearview mirror. It's all about looking at your data through dashboards, reports, and models to understand what happened and why. It's all about gaining insight. Next on the list is automation. This is your digital workhorse. It's not about learning or thinking. It's about following a very specific set of instructions perfectly every single time. It's the absolute best tool for all those repetitive, rule-based tasks that just clog up your team's day.
Okay, now we get to machine learning. This is where things start to get, really interesting. This is where a system actually starts to learn from past data. It spots patterns that we humans might miss, and then uses those patterns to make predictions about the future. This is the engine behind things like fraud detection or forecasting customer behavior.
And that brings us to the big one, the star of the show lately, generative AI. This is the tech that's been all over the headlines, and for good reason. What makes it so special? Well, it doesn't just analyze or predict, it creates. It makes brand new, original content that didn't exist before. Think of it as a creative partner that can help you draft an email, summarize a report, or even write code. Now, this slide right here, this is basically your cheat sheet. It lays out all 4 technologies side by side so you can see exactly how they're different. But here's the real pro tip. These are not mutually exclusive. The most powerful solutions out there often combine these in really clever ways. We'll get to that in just a second. Okay, so you've got the framework, you know the 4 categories. How do you actually put this into practice? Let's walk through a few real-world examples so you can see how to pick the right tool for the job. All right, time for a quick pop quiz. Let's say your HR department is just drowning in repetitive approval workflows. Which tool from our new toolkit are you going to reach for to help them out? If you said automation, you are absolutely right. This is a textbook case for a system that just needs to follow a set of simple rules again and again without ever getting tired or making a mistake. It's the perfect way to free up your HR folks to do much more important work. But what if the problem's a little trickier? What if you're trying to figure out which of your customers might be about to leave you? How can you possibly predict that before it's too late? Yep, this is where machine learning comes into play. It's kind of like having a crystal ball that can sift through all your customer data and spot those super subtle warning signs that a person might never notice. It isn't magic, it's just really smart technology doing its thing. Okay, one more. What if your goal is to create new content? Let's say you need someone or something to help you draft all your internal knowledge base articles. This is where generative AI absolutely shines. It's not just following rules or spotting patterns. It's creating something totally new. It can help you draft those documents in a fraction of the time, freeing you up to think about the bigger picture. So you can see how this works, right? Once you understand the real problem you're trying to solve, picking the right tool becomes so much easier. So let's circle all the way back to that first vague proposal about invoices and see how we can turn it into a genuinely smart, actionable plan. And here it is. This is the payoff. We started with that fuzzy request, use AI to approve invoices. But now, with our new clarity, we can craft a much smarter solution. We can use automation for the straightforward rules-based workflow. And then we bring in a touch of AI to do the tricky stuff, like pulling line items out of a PDF. See? It's the best of both worlds. So, what's the bottom line here? What should you take away from all this? First, not everything that seems smart is generative AI. Remember, there are different tools for different jobs. Second, the really great solutions, the game changers, often mix and match these technologies. And maybe most important, always start with a problem you're trying to solve, not the cool tech. That's the secret.
So the next time you're in a meeting and someone just throws out the term AI, you'll be ready. You'll have the framework to ask the right questions, to cut through the hype, and to guide your team toward a much better solution. So go out there and make it happen.